Hello everyone, thank you very much for joining us today at our Women in Business webinar. My name is Chris Papaleologu and I'm the Recruitment Manager for the MBA program. My team and I are responsible for supporting you every step of the way up until you submit your application. The session today is aimed at female prospective students interested in any of our master programs. The Women in Business Club is a unique platform that provides extensive support to aspiring female leaders through a suite of activities. These include a flagship conference, events, networking, development, recruitment, and mentoring. It's one of the largest and most active clubs on campus. I'll be joined today by the co-president of the Women in Business Club, and we will discuss how London Business School and the club support women during their studies and beyond. First of all, I would like to thank Molly very much for coming today and joining us. Could I please ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your journey so far?
Great, thank you. So my name is Molly Paris. I'm a second-year MBA from the United States, originally from Chicago. Prior to the MBA, I spent 4 years at Deloitte in consulting for the US federal government. And I knew that I wanted to come to LBS because I wanted the experience to study, work, and live abroad. And I knew that LBS was the perfect place for me to get a global perspective and a European opportunity. While at LBS, I have been involved actively in the Women in Business Club. This year, I'm lucky enough to be co-president of the club. And additionally, I am a part of the Walpole program, so I'd be happy to answer any questions about that. That's the luxury management program. And after my MBA, I'll be going to Bain & Company here in London. I'm happy to be here and looking forward to answering all of your questions.
Great, thank you very much. This is the agenda for today. There is a chat box below the presentation where you can start typing your questions for Molly, while I'm providing you with a small introduction to LBS and our portfolio. So why would someone choose LBS? On our school, you'll experience a challenging, dynamic environment that will redefine your cultural boundaries. You'll be able to take advantage of our diversity to gain unparalleled global business insights and learn what it means to become truly globally mobile. The faculty is made up of over 30 nationalities from across the globe. You'll be exposed to a global community, having the opportunity to sit in a class with people from different cultural backgrounds, but also professional backgrounds. It will be an amazing opportunity for a new way of thinking, broad and international. Finally, location. The strength we draw from the cultural diversity, the hunger and dynamism of London sets us apart like no other school. We offer unparalleled access to some of the world's most successful businesses who work right on your doorstep. London is a bustling, energetic and cosmopolitan city that offers a wealth of cultural, social and educational opportunities. They're saying if you're bored of London, you're bored of life, so you'll always have new things to do around here. Learning to live and work in a thriving business capital such as London is very exciting and rewarding as an experience itself. We have in total 12 degree programs, over 130 nationalities, 7 shared electives between the portfolio. That means that you'll have the opportunity to sit in a class with students from different programs as well. That will give you an opportunity to expand your network even further. Here we can see our whole portfolio. Our early careers portfolio, the Masters in Management, the Global Masters Management, the Masters in Financial Analysis and the Masters and the MAN, is designed for high-flying graduates ready to rise to the top with maximum 2 years of work experience. Our mid-careers portfolio is for people who have an average of 5 years of postgraduate work experience that may be at a crossroads, ready to make a significant career change, or perhaps looking to fast-track, move industry, or excel as an entrepreneur. Finally, our leadership portfolio is for high-caliber functional managers, executives, or entrepreneurs with the potential and ambition to become a truly global, multi-skilled business leaders with 7+ years of postgraduate work experience that are ready to make a significant career transformation within their organization. LBS clubs offer some of the most memorable, interesting, and enjoyable aspects of your student experience. Our 80 student clubs create important networks as well as opportunities for you to explore your personal interests and develop leadership and management skills. The clubs range in focus from professional subjects such as consulting, entrepreneurship, energy, to regional clubs, including the Latin America Club, the China Club, the Greek Club. There are also general interest and sports clubs, taking in football, photography, salsa, and a lot more. Clubs and their initiatives, supported by the school and the Student Association, increase the breadth and depth of learning opportunities at London Business School. It is part of the experience. These opportunities include discussions on cutting-edge business topics, alumni sharing their work experiences, leading executives talking candidly about their industries, and many more. The entrepreneurial approach of our students means that if you feel there's a missing opportunity, you have the chance to create that yourself. This can be seen from the variety of different types of activity, from hackathons to competitions to conferences and to career tracks. This learning, alongside students' ability to engage with London and their peers' global perspectives, is an important part of what makes LBS a transformative experience. From Atlanta to Zurich and from asset management to women in business, our alumni supports provide a wealth of opportunities to network, socialize, share knowledge, and exchange business experience. We have 114 clubs in 55 countries, alumni clubs. These include 94 international alumni clubs and 20 professional interest clubs. One of the largest and most active clubs, as we already mentioned, is the Women in Business Club. The WIB Club, as we call it, is a unique platform that provides extensive support to aspiring female leaders through a suite of activities. These include a flagship conference that Molly can talk to us more about, events, networking, development, recruitment, and mentoring. So I would like to thank Molly once again for coming to share her knowledge and her story and her journey so far. We will now start taking questions from the panel, from the audience. So please feel free to write your questions on the chat box below. This is your opportunity to find more about the London Business School, the experience and the club, and how they support women during their studies. So we have our first question. What has surprised you in the Women in Business Club?
I think one of the most surprising things for me, and honestly, one of the most encouraging things, is the involvement of men in the club. So one of the unique aspects that the Women in Business Club has at LBS is that we involve men in the conversation. So we have a group of men ambassadors who are a part of our club. It's about 15 or so men from all degree programs that are involved in really understanding how they can engage in the gender equality conversation and how they can make a difference. So that has been the most surprising thing and the most encouraging thing, because we really do believe that if we want to make a change in gender equality, we have to involve both men and women.
Great, that's perfect actually. Another question, can we get involved even if we're not currently studying in LBS?
So we do encourage people to reach out to us if they're interested in joining LBS. That's definitely a possibility. We encourage outside students and professionals from outside of LBS to attend our conference. So if you do happen to live in London, or if you're traveling to London around the time of our conference, you're welcome to join those events. But most of our events are on campus in London and are suited for people who are studying, but we welcome outside attendees as well.
Perfect, thank you very much. As an incoming exchange student from the University of Hong Kong, will I be able to be part of this club and its activities?
Absolutely. So everyone who's on exchange is welcome to join any student clubs on campus, and they're invited to all of our events. So You don't have to be an LBS student full time. You can be an LBS student for a couple of months and join all of our events.
And that's the same for all the student clubs. If you're an exchange student, you'll be able to be part of our of the rest of the clubs as well.
Yeah, I know a lot of people on exchange who play sports. One of my friends was here from Colombia in the US and he was playing on the rugby team. So there's lots of opportunities for you to get involved on campus.
There you go. Dear Molly, what kind of workshops do you hold at the Women in Business Club?
Yeah, so these are actually really an exciting topic for us. Yeah, so this is a really exciting topic for us. We have a couple of different workshops and panel events that we think are really important. So in the Women in Business Club, we offer a lot of recruitment support. So these are panel events with industry experts and companies that recruit heavily at LBS. But additionally, we offer these bespoke panel and networking events, one of which is the Personal Development Masterclass series. So this started last year, and it's a series of 4 masterclass workshops, and they're focused on different areas of soft skills that we help both our female and male members develop, because we believe that building these soft skills is a really important aspect of your time here at LBS before you go back into the working world. So these masterclass topics include things like negotiations, resilience. There's a lot of different topics like that we cover that really bring a nice soft skills approach to our programming efforts. This year, it's sponsored by BCG, so there's a lot of corporate involvement for the club. So that's the Personal Development Masterclass series, which I'm really excited about. And then another one is our Women Innovators program. So we selected 25 female entrepreneurs. You had to apply for this program. And through the program, I think there's about 8 events. You'll be assigned a mentor. So you'll be able to workshop your entrepreneurship idea with your mentor. You can attend SQL classes, coding classes, and we'll, I think, be concluding it with a presentation for all of the mentors and attendees. This is really exciting because we are really trying to focus on female entrepreneurs. So I hope that answered your question. It's just a small subset of a lot of the really cool events that we have going on in the Women in Business Club.
Great. And talking about great events from the Women in Business Club, can you tell us a bit about the Women in Business Conference?
Yeah. So the Women in Business Conference this year was the 19th annual Women in Business Conference. Next year in 2020 will be the 20th annual. So we're really excited for that. But the theme this year was shifting the lens. And the whole idea behind this year's theme was that there's not one way to look at gender equality. It's that it has to be looked at through many different lenses. So a couple of the panel discussions that we had were on gender equality through culture, gender equality through the media, gender equality through age, because we believe that you really need to be looking at gender equality through all these different lenses to really get a full picture. We were really excited because we had a hands-on interactive workshop called Hacking Inclusion as well, done by a professional guy from Token Man, and he's all about getting men in typically all female situations to understand what it's like to be othered and to be kind of like in the minority. So that was really exciting, but we were just really happy with the outcome of this year's conference. Sold out again, support from about 10 sponsors, and really well attended by both men and women. This is another aspect of the club that we like to get men involved in as well.
Great, thank you very much. We have a very aspiring candidate here that is asking what were the steps you took to earn the role of co-president of the club, and what are the requirements for a leadership role like that?
Yeah. So I would say last year, my first year as an MBA student, I was really excited to get involved in a large number of clubs. And I think that everyone gets this real eagerness when they join LBS to want to do everything. So it's important to focus on what you really love and what you're really passionate about, because you have such limited time, especially during the first year of your MBA, to dedicate a lot of time to a specific club. So for me, that was retail and luxury goods and women in business. I knew that those were going to be like my two focuses. Um, I was during the first year involved in the Exco as the social chair. So I was heading up our social events for the club, both internally and externally. And during the first year, we had our first annual Winter Wonderland Equality Ball. So this was a black tie ball co-hosted with the Out in Business Club, supporting UN Women. So all the proceeds from the ball and the charity auction that occurred there went towards UN Women, who's one of our key partners with the Women in Business Club. Um, so this was one of the really exciting things that I got to do during my first year, and I knew that I wanted to stay involved in women in business, and I was quite inspired by the co-presidents the year before to apply for co-president during my second year. And so Anna and I ran successfully as co-president candidates, and since then we've really just taken off with the club, and we're really enjoying it. It's definitely made a huge impact on my second year, because you'll know that at different times during your program, whatever program it is, you have a bit more time or a bit less time. So having a co-president position during my second year has made this second year really fulfilling, and I felt like I've had the time to dedicate towards that and to the club this year.
Okay, thank you very much. What was your favorite thing about the Walpole program? Do you have any advice for someone who's interested in the program? Can you talk a bit more about your experience
Yeah.
on that as well?
So, for those of you that may not know, the Walpole program is a luxury management program that is designed at, I think it's open to early career and MBA students, to pair them up with a leader in the luxury goods industry, as well as they have a program of events. I think there's 7 or 8 sessions throughout the year. And these are covering different topics within the luxury goods industry. So one day it could be on hospitality, the next on alcohol and spirits, and on luxury cosmetics or luxury goods. Like, there's a ton of different topics that are covered. And through the Walpole program, you also get invited to additional events outside of these panels that are hosted on campus. So I came to LBS knowing that I really wanted to do the Walpole program. That being said, there's only 15 of us that got selected for it. So it's a very competitive program. So I encourage you, if you are interested in it, to be focused on doing that and get to try to talk to as many people as possible while you're doing the application process. As well as keep in mind that this is not the only way to do luxury goods at LBS. There are so many other amazing resources through the Retail and Luxury Goods Club, through tons of different panel events and recruitment opportunities. So the Walpole isn't the be-all, end-all of your luxury management program at LBS, but it is a great opportunity. So I had the opportunity to work with the managing director at the Savoy, which is one of the most famous luxury hotels in London. So I got to learn a lot from him and his team, but I also learned a lot from the panel discussions that I attended as a part of the Walpole program. I absolutely loved it and would highly recommend it to anyone who's interested. But again, there were a ton of other opportunities, and there are people who are going into the luxury industry that weren't a part of the Walpole program during their time here at LBS. So definitely lots of opportunities. The Walpole is one of the great ones, though.
Great, thank you very much. What has been then the most rewarding aspect of the LBS so far?
Yeah.
Not
So
necessarily from the program. It could be any club, it could be anything
yeah,
really.
I think the diversity of the student body has been, I know it sounds so cheesy, but it's the truth. Um, so I came here with my partner. My partner works full time here in London, and we are so blessed to be surrounded by so many new friends from all over the world. So when I think about this program ending, I think, okay, well, we have to plan a trip to Chile so that we can visit our friends there. We have to go to Japan during the Olympics because we have a place to stay now. All of these people that I would have never had a chance to meet. I mean, it is incredible how lucky we are to be part of this really special network of students and professionals from across the world that will carry on for the rest of your life. I always give this example, but one of the things that's also great about LBS is despite all of these students coming from all over the world, and maybe there's a huge cohort from the US or from Canada or from Japan or South Korea, that these cultural groups are very open. So it's not like, I know that you gave the example of the Greek club. I was a part of the Japan club. I'm not Japanese. I don't speak Japanese, and I've only been to Japan on work for 2 days. And I joined the Japan club and actually led 180 students to Japan on the Japan Trek. So this was an amazing experience. Not only did I get to experience the culture, but I got to experience working in a semi-professional environment with the Japanese students through the Japan Club, which was a hugely rewarding and eye-opening experience because I felt like I got to appreciate how a different culture works without even working in that culture. So that through something like that, a cultural club, or even through your study group, you really get an understanding of how to work with different cultures and how to create a unique understanding among diverse perspectives.
Great, perfect. So you've been involved in two clubs already, quite heavily,
Mm-hmm.
Japan and Women in Business. Is there any other clubs you've been involved to, and what have you
Yeah, I
done with
was a
them?
bit crazy my first year. So I was in the Japan Club to lead the Japan Trek. I was also in the Retail and Luxury Goods Club Exco, and I led the Paris Trek. So we went for 3 days to Paris and visited companies both in retail, luxury, hospitality. What else? So that was like a 3 day trip where we went to Paris visiting these companies. And this is a great example of what I was saying before about how you can be a part of the retail and luxury goods community without doing the Walpole program. This trip was open to anyone. We even had an alumni join us. And I'm trying to think if there were any other clubs that I was a part of. I think those were the three that were
The main ones.
yeah, the main ones.
Well,
and then
not
I
enough
did
to fill up
yeah,
your time.
and I did a ton of treks.
Perfect.
Yeah, lots of
Great.
travel.
Can you tell about the treks and what's involved in the treks?
Yeah, so I actually had no idea about this when I first came to LBS, but treks and traveling are a huge part of the LBS experience. So the cultural clubs mostly are the ones who organize treks. So to give you kind of idea of what these are, they are student-run trips all over the world that are coordinated and organized by people from that country. So, for example, the Japan Trek is an annual trek of about 150 LBS students. I mean, this is massive. It's like a professional tourism company, but it's the LBS Japan Club. So I was able to go on the Japan Trek. I also went on the Greek Trek. So we went sailing in Greece for a week. That was amazing. I got to go to Moscow on the Poland Trek. I organized a trek to Budapest, the Paris trek, as I mentioned before. So you can see that the travel was a little bit crazy, but also made the experience so much richer. And it's a really great time to make deeper connections with the students outside of the classroom. So that was also a really nice way for my partner to get involved in the program. Although partners aren't invited to join any club on campus, they can come to all events. It was really nice to also have that opportunity for him to join me in the treks. And it made it, a really nice way to involve both of us.
Perfect. We have a question about, and we do get that while we're on the road quite a bit, but it's good to actually have the student perspective as well. Like there is a say that LBS is a finance school and finance school only.
Yeah.
Can you please talk a bit more about the diversity within the sectors and where people are going to after they graduate from here?
Yeah, so this was one of the questions that I had about LBS because I come from a consulting background. My undergraduate degree was in international politics and military history, so I had absolutely no experience in finance. So I think that this was one of the questions I had, also one of the fears that I had, if I'm being totally honest. And I think that one of the greatest things about LBS is because we do have well, I think it's more of like a reputation and a specialty in finance, that the education and the quality of finance education that you get here is really high. So that was definitely something that I benefited from. But the minute I was done with my first finance class, that was the last time I knew I was going to touch finance during my entire MBA. So I think that what I mean to say here is that it's definitely a choose your own adventure situation. So if that's something that you want to focus on, that's great. But if not, there are so many different courses that you can choose from as a part of the what we call tailored core and elective portfolios. That if you want to focus on finance, if you want to focus on marketing, if you want to focus on organizational behavior, those are all options for you. Me personally, I've focused on strategy, organizational behavior, and I'll be graduating with my certificate in luxury management. So that's kind of my specialization. But just because we're a finance school does not mean that everyone, so that's kind of on the education side, but on the recruitment side, just because we're a finance school does not mean that we all end up in finance after your program. So sure, there are a ton of firms that are recruiting in finance, but there are even more firms that are recruiting in consulting, that are recruiting in tech, that are startups, that are marketing. So you really have a lot of different choices at the end of your program. So I would say most of the people in my program are not going into finance. And there are just a ton of different options.
Yeah, I think there are opportunities for everyone, really. If you want to find out more about the breakdown of where people are going after they graduate, you can just download the deployment report of the program you're interested into. You can find that on our website, and that will actually show you where everyone is going. But it is quite a split around the class, I think. And there are people that are going to finance, there are people that are going to consulting, but there are a lot of people that are going to diversified sectors as well. Great. Give us one second. Do you know if there are any opportunities for international alumni to get involved with the clubs or like with the women in business or any mentorship programs? I definitely know that the Career Center has um, a scheme where you can actually become a mentor or get mentorship twice a year after you graduate. So you do have that for sure. But I don't know if there is anything else that you have in mind.
So I know that recently a new mentorship program has been opened through the hub. I think it's the LBS hub. This is a hub for alumni who've kind of raised their hand and said, I want to be contacted by students. I'm available to be a mentor. So the Women in Business Club is working with the hub to develop a pilot mentorship program. And outside of that, alumni, I think, can be involved in the Alumni Women in Business uh, Club, but I'm not too sure about the details on that.
Great. Um, can you tell us about any projects or initiatives undertaken during your studies that aim to make a positive impact on social, economic, or environmental issues? Do you know
Yeah.
anything?
So I was in my first year during my luxury management elective, luxury strategy elective. Um, we heard from a CEO of an of a an eco-centric luxury goods e-tailer. So she is focused on sourcing sustainable and ethical goods, but luxury goods. So she runs this e-commerce site called Revon Vert, which means dream in green. And she's focused. So I thought that this kind of fit into my interest in the luxury management uh, industry. And um, so one of the opportunities that I had during my MBA is to do a business project. So one of your electives can be a business project where you basically do a consulting project for a specific company. And me and another student selected this company, Revon Vert, to get an understanding of a new marketing strategy and customer acquisition strategy for her company. So this was really, I thought, a cool opportunity for me to work with someone in the luxury industry, but also to make a positive impact on the environment, because the clothing industry is the most pollutant industry in the world. Um, it's absolutely terrible. So this was a really fun opportunity that I had. And if you have a business idea or if you have a company that you want to work with, it's kind of a total free opportunity for you to do this consulting type project as a part of the business project elective.
Great, thank you very much, Molly. Um, one more question. Do you know any international students that are have started a startup here in the UK? Do you have any examples that pop in your mind?
Yep. So there are, you'll be amazed. I think that coming to LBS, everyone kind of gets this, I want to start my own company bug. Um, and there's definitely a huge wave of
Yep.
entrepreneurs.
We can actually see that on the applicant side as well. We do see an increase in entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So there are two companies that I have in mind of students from my year who are not from the UK who started these companies. One is called the Ocean Bottle, and it's aimed at reducing the amount of plastic that's in our oceans. So it's a bottle, and with the purchase of every bottle, you help to remove ocean plastic from the oceans. Additionally, there's a travel services company called Whisk Away that two of the girls in my class co-founded. But yeah, that's just two of many companies that have been started by international students. And I think that there's a new, I got an email about a new visa for entrepreneurs who are graduating from LBS. So in the past, it used to be a little bit more difficult, but this is actually really good news if you do want to start your own company in the UK.
Great. Thank you very much. That's very helpful. Um, our audience today is basically prospective students that are aspiring to become students as well. And do you have any advice for them at that stage? You know, you've been there, you know how hard it is going through GMA and then filling out a long application,
Yeah.
having to reflect on essays. Do you have any advice for them? Not necessarily for the MBA, generally.
Yeah. So I remember at this point in my journey, it was quite a stressful time because not only did you have to get through the GMAT, which you'll be fine, everybody gets through the GMAT. Like I took it twice, so don't feel bad if you're not happy with your score the first time. It's totally acceptable. And, I kind of thought, oh, I'm going to nail it on the first try. If you don't, it's no big deal. I nailed it on the second try, so it's fine. But really take this time to reflect on what you want to get out of the MBA, because I think envisioning what you imagine your end goal to be is really helpful in writing your essays and making sure that they come out really honestly. So taking the time to reflect, because I know it can be so busy. You just want to knock out those essays, knock out the GMAT, but really taking the time to understand what you love about your job, what you hate about your job, what you want to see in your next job, what you think the program would bring for you. Really take that time to reflect because it'll pay off in your application. And additionally, don't be too married to the ideas that you think you want for your career going in. I went into the MBA and I thought, I want to be in retail and luxury goods. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to do it. And just really allowing yourself that space to be open, to be vulnerable, to be accepting of new ideas and new paths that you didn't think you would go down. It's a really great time. So reflect, take the time to reflect now, but also be open to the possibility that the MBA will bring you, or whatever program that you choose.
That's lovely. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for sharing your story, your experiences, and everything. I'm pretty sure it was very useful for everyone. Thanks to the audience from wherever you are in the world. And we hope we see you in other events of ours. If you have any questions whatsoever for a certain and specific program, do reach out to us on masters@london.edu and we'll be able to get back to you. I know there are probably some questions that are more specific to certain programs or admissions, but today's webinar was mainly about the student activities, the Women in Business Club, and how that could help you and support you while you're a student here. So any other specific questions about any of the programs, do reach out to us at our mailbox and we'll get back to you. Thank you once again and have a lovely day.